know when we actually started this. Yeah. Until maybe
myself in Sudoku. They have like this online Sudoku where they like 10 people throughout the world. Fastest.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. She's the top. She was like, that's the city players.
Message. Yes.
Oh, that's what I was coming up.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem. Today's video is going to be kind of boring. It's going to be my face just sitting here. So sorry.
Bye.
I just started the Hangout on air, so that's when it starts recording. So maybe you should do it until after. It's okay.
So I got a call from in Pittsburgh, PMC there, which is like the hospital, and she said that there's like a huge need for people with software development skills there.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. You see, doesn't ring a bell. It's like University of Pennsylvania Medical Center.
I think so.
I used to work for Geisinger Healthcare, which is another big deal up in Pennsylvania. Same concept. Everyone's always looking for developers.
Like there's a movement too, and Pittsburgh's like kind of like a tech city now, right?
Sure. I don't know anything about Pennsylvania. Did you guys finish? Did you guys? Are you?
And I wrote not finish this problem.
Okay.
So,
I wrote in my notes the things I thought I could do, but I don't know how to exactly execute it.
That sounds good. So you guys are okay. Okay.
I failed miserably too. I'll put it as mine.
All right. So we have miserable failure.
And it seemed like the other one, where you're taking a length characters in an array that you can split.
Two, right?
Or what's the last problem? I feel like I know kind of what you're.
So there's like a for loop, right?
Like the one where Avery wrote the like when we looked at Avery's code,
Mhm.
and it was really pretty. And the notes were really.
I'm pretty sure that was yesterday.
It was Friday. It was Friday.
Last class. Safer way to say that. I don't think so. I think we're close on Labor Day. Hey, Betsy,
Labor Day.
firm
I'm sorry.
on Labor Day. Do we have it? Okay.
It's Labor Day.
Know when Labor Day is?
September 6th.
What are the dates?
All right. Avery says the 6th. So Monday. Okay, yeah. September 5th. 5th. Unless you want to. We've never had a Labor Day. Yeah. Our first cohort was ago. Yeah. All right. So how you guys feeling? It seems like we're at a stopping point, right? Would anyone like to talk about their code? Okay. Also share my screen. I'm going to switch actually to mirrored mode real quick. Easier. That's not what I want to do. All right. First thing I want to go over is my tests. So what I passed in here was inputs and outputs, and just comparing them. X with ASD x86 4 should return 4, right? Parameter equals that second parameter, then this test is hunky-dory. Assert equals will continue. If they're not the same, assert X will throw an exception. Failed. So in my test runner, I can see that, which means another one threw an exception. Passed. Everything works. Okay. So this question is, what does this method do? Or what does this method do? So here's one approach. I mean, this is not like the approach to solve a problem. This is the one I chose. Sorry, just cleaning up some white space down here. Long X is a function. We take a look first at its method signature here. It's a method that it's named long X. It returns an int. So far that makes sense, right? Because we're trying to analyze a string run of x's, which is an integer. So in order to accomplish this, I actually in the beginning. So int longest run is 0. We've seen so far, right? So have the current run, which I'm just calling run. It's also
Yeah, I can't either.
screen share for being absolutely worthless.
Kind of interesting to use.
That's my kids were here yesterday watching Netflix. It's not mine, I promise. We're screen sharing. I want to make sure that with Google, so I'm going to redo that.
It's in a different class, right?
Yes, they're in a test main test class is in my test folder.
You just created a whole new folder. Is it under like the? Remember how I was doing like the weird, like I was doing like another class that wasn't under like the main class, or wasn't like on the same level as like the main class, or it wasn't in the same project. Okay, so can you zoom in on that? I just want to see like.
So I have out and source are siblings. Inside source, we have our package and we have the test folder.
Okay, cool.
The test folder doesn't strictly need to be in the source folder, but it's just by convention it's there. So yeah, that has its own package here, and then main test is its class. All right, so two integers that we're going to be using solving this problem. Okay.
Test isn't its own package, it's a folder.
Folders and packages are kind of the same thing in dealing with Java.
So I just created a new package called test.
Actually, what you can do is you can right-click on main, or actually I think it's command generate tests. You know what? Let me just get rid of. Well, I don't want to get rid of my tests because then here I'll just copy this whole test class. We'll remake it just so for. So we have main. I think it's this. There we go. If you hover over the class name and you hit Alt Enter, like you did for the add imports thing, create tests. And you can specify which methods you want to build the class, the tests for.
Oh, generate missed test methods?
But if you just click on the class name and you hit Alt, and then that window should pop up, right? That?
Yes.
And then you go to create tests.
And you generate missed test methods.
Do you already have a test class with this? Methods.
No test found. You have the same thing?
Okay, so what that might indicate is you guys don't have a test folder set up. The semicolon, that brings up the project structure tab, or window rather. What you do is you can click root here. Well, actually, no. Make a new folder called test. Inside your source folder.
Okay, click modules and then.
Module.
What you do is
Test resources?
right click the source folder that's blue and click new folder, and underneath it write test.
Okay, I got you.
Folders.
Test.
Like that?
Let me see. No, don't need that. You keep source as a source folder. You can do folder called test.
Okay.
There you go.
Alright.
Got it. So how do we, it's command semicolon to get to this?
To get to the project structure, you can also go to you can click the menu, go to file, and there should be an option called project structure. Hit command semicolon. Yep. So the whole deal is we're going to make a new folder that hold our tests. And IntelliJ needs to know how to treat that folder. And so we just tell it, this is where we're going to put our tests, right? So if you hit OK and you do that whole like Alt-Enter thing again on the main class, you should see create test or generate test methods, right? So if you
generate this test method.
yeah. A warning about IntelliJ or JUnit not being installed. You need to select a JUnit if it gives you an option there. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing, so I can't tell you exactly. But you should just click fix it, and it'll fix the problem. That by default, JUnit is an external library that you need to run your tests. It's not included on all projects. Okay. Like, it's actually very convenient if you write your code and start doing that, then I would love to see that in your practice problems in the morning. Even if you don't even get the solution right, if you start writing tests, I think it's a good exercise. So going back to the code, are we ready to talk about this again? So we have two variables right now, the local variables longest run and run will be the longest return eventually, and run is the current run that we're in right now. Okay?
I'm sorry.
What's up?
So I was writing like that add test, public void, balance returns, blah, blah, da, 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 you know, in my main because I didn't have a test folder yet.
Sure.
So then when I try and click on my test folder, it won't open.
Let's talk about that maybe after we do the practice problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can review. Okay, so for each character, it's for int I equals 0, I is less than input.length. We want to add 1 to the current run, right? Because we know we're in a run of x's. We have at least one x. Plus. If we make run bigger, then it's going to be bigger than the one we've seen before. Just to check that, we're like, if run is greater than the one we've seen before, the longest one we've seen before to the one we currently have. And if it's not an x, we know that we're not in a run of x's anymore. Equal to 0, because we're not currently in a run. So after this for loop executes, it's going to iterate over every single string. Return to us the longest run.
Run come from?
I declared it right there. On line 17.
Line 17.
Updating. So it seems like we're having some this morning. Yeah, there we go.
There, okay, all right.
Yeah, I scrolled up like that, like a. I don't think that I could take it down even if I wanted to right now.
It works in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's okay, but right now it's just super bad. I don't know why. I think we've been having some pretty good success with the Apple TV, honestly. Like, we've been working with it okay. It's crappy. So do you guys have any questions about this?
So just to clarify that if statement, basically it's checking the index for every index point in the string for an x, and then an x at the next one. It's adding that up with the longest run.
Yeah.
It's run plus plus, which increments run of one.
Just adds one to run.
So then when it's broken, you have a number run, and that equals longest run. If it's okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So problem is in the for loop. So for int I is 0 up until the input, they get the current character, compare it, see if it is equal to x. If it is equal to x, and like if we left right now, if the string was just x, it would return 1, right? Every time we commit run every time we see x, because that we know that that's a new run. So, and every time we change run and we increase it, we know there's a chance that that could have what we've seen so far. And in the first case that we see an x, that actually is true. It's out at 0. So if x is 1, and then at longest run. So if we pass in a string that didn't have any x's, longest run would be 0, and just return 0.
So you put that other if in there just in case there's a different run of x, and that will be longer than the first run.
That's the part of the problem that makes it more difficult than just finding the number of x's in the string. Right.
Yeah.
It's just that takes into account. We have a test for that down here on XP, XXP, XXXP. This will return at this point. It'd be 1. Run would be right, and then we process P, and then run is 0. Longest run is 2. Run is 1. Longest run is 2. Run is 3 or 2. Longest run is 2. Longest run is 3. X run is 4. Longest run is 4. X run is 5. Longest run is 5. P run is 5. It's the end of the string. Return longest run. It's 5. Right? Yeah, right?
Yeah. Put it up for another second. I wanted to copy the comments that you have down there so I can
Sure.
reference it.
It's all on GitHub, by the way.
Okay,
If you want to type it out, that's fine.
thanks.
You want it right now?
Did you?
Yeah, so I got it. Some of the.
It's also useful to type it out, so
Friday, trying to figure out this one.
But yeah. I learn better if I like write it down myself too.
yeah, totally understand. Yeah.
Setting up for loops.
For loops.
Yeah, like just setting them up in general.
And I keep setting it up like the JavaScript way instead of doing it like instead of doing it like, well, I keep setting it up that way instead of like, never mind, I just totally realized what I was saying. Never mind, just forget it.
Okay.
Just forget what I even said.
What's hanging me up about for loops, man? You don't know?
know it makes sense when I look at it, but just setting it up, I just keep forgetting.
Also, like forgetting, like the if statements here, like the if else statements here, I keep forgetting that we can use like run plus plus.
Well, we didn't even have to use, I mean, we can do run equals run plus 1 if that made more sense to you.
But I forget that we can use that like in an if statement instead of like just in a for loop.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can put if statements anywhere, right? Like that's one of the most powerful constructs of ability to conditionally do this or that, right?
But the run increments is what I keep forgetting I can use.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's another thing is just updating variables as you go along, like procedurally.
Like you can do that outside of a for loop.
Yeah, you can change the value of run. You can increment it. You can set it to wherever you want. Yeah. There's no limitations to be an integer. So well, let's go over for loops today during lab. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Okay.
Do you guys, would it be useful for you to have like almost like drills, like exercises?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you go over?
Like homework practice problems, like
Cones.
like in math, like 2 + 2.
Sure.
That would be super awesome.
Okay.
Just get used to using, because our assignments don't really entail this kind of syntax. Does that make sense? Like we don't work with numbers a lot. Or
Like even run plus plus, like a vocab.
not familiar with it.
Yeah. Did you guys take a look at the Java cones library I put
I
up?
haven't had a chance.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I couldn't figure it out. Well, I think I got it to run, but then it was like this one first, and then there's like so it started, and then it didn't.
Okay.
So I just where to start.
Sure. How about during lab time today? First thing we do after lunch is we and then we go over the Java cones and you guys started. Because what we're describing right now are these cones. This is their exact job, is to like repetitive problem solving, like simple problems. It'll illustrate different features of the language. That's basically, I don't know. It solves that problem, right?
All right, yeah, sounds good.
Rock on. Well, today, for our lesson, today we're going to be moving on from console applications. We're going to be discussing graphical applications.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're going to be writing things that actually have user interfaces. They're pretty sweet. So,
The bathroom. I can hold it. I can hold it.
no, go take care of it. Yeah. So, just going to get a little bit of a start, not too fast while Lindsay's gone. JavaFX, its whole job is to build graphical applications, right? Yes. So JavaFX is actually a replacement for an older technology called Swing. And Swing is what I used to write stuff in, and it wasn't, but it's what we had and we dealt with it, right? But JavaFX takes a more modern approach to graphical application development. And the way basically what that means is that the interface elements are described with XML. Do you guys remember JSON? Seen XML? Or do you know what XML is? No? Okay. XML is another way of describing data. And like it's very structured, it's hierarchical. If we take a look at our Scratchpad folder, this is XML. IntelliJ has this thing called a .iml folder, which is like IntelliJ or IDEA markup language or something like that. It's a derivative of XML, right? is essentially what XML will look like. Names here, and by element I mean between the less than and the greater than signs. They're not defined by what makes the most sense, right? So that could be anything. Like if you were describing a person, the root element could be person, and it could be like, that could be like first name, and then the value could be Ben. Name, stare it. The stuff you can describe in JSON, you can describe in XML as well. Sometimes, in my opinion, XML is way more verbose than JSON and not as readable at all by any means. XML is still a pretty hugely used modern UI development is all based around XML. For iOS in particular, but I do know that Android works this way, mostly works this way, and WinForms works this way. It says in C#. Nowadays is to declare your layouts with XML, because it has a very good. The one thing that XML does do a very good job of is showing you like parent-child relationships. Like you can pretty clearly see the component is inside module here. It's inside component. It's inside content, right? I mean that's what it's good at, and you can also see order, right? So source order folder comes first, right? No problem. Welcome back. We're just discussing the first part of JavaFX, which is XML. If you remember JSON, it's got the curly brackets and the key value pairs, the strings. XML is another way to transfer data from one place to another. Description language. And the way it describes data is it wraps it in these elements. So there's an element called module. It's got a couple attributes. One's type, and this other one's version that's equal to 4. So this is a XML file that IntelliJ uses to Crashpad project, right? It's just what IntelliJ uses. XML is how it stores the data. JavaFX uses something very similar. We're going to build what's called an FXML file. And then we're going to be with our code to the FXML file. The first step that we need to do is download this tool called Scene Builder. If you guys will go to this application, this URL here, q.com/labs/scene builder. The lesson, it's also there. Since it's kind of a pain in the butt to write XML with your hands typing, they built Scene Builder to help you look to build these apps. So it makes it pretty convenient and cool to create stuff in.
Download.
Yeah, just
Oh, duh.
yeah, there's a couple of them
Well.
acceptable too, but I think the most straightforward way is just the OSX DMG file.
Okay.
And you know what?
Oh yeah, that does make sense a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it, but
Updated Scene Builder, so I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah, mine's like 4 or 5 minutes. Are you serious? No, I just
seconds now.
Mine says 4 minutes. 2 hours. 4 minutes.
yeah, you start the first and then you'll like kick you off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have maybe made you guys download this overnight, so apologize for that. Would have been more convenient if you guys had done that beforehand.
2 minutes.
We do have some tools coming up soon that it would be nice to set it up beforehand, so I'll make sure to So, eggs. So it shouldn't be like the time you download, but
Oh, yeah, mine is
internet for sucking.
it's like 3 hours and that doesn't say anything.
Actually, I have an idea.
I fell asleep to The Office last night. Why? Because you are like nothing like Andy Bernard, but Avery, you remind me so much of Andy Bernard for some reason.
Wow. I watched The Office, and it's
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
Andy?
I love Andy. He's
I
awesome.
mean, yeah, but he's like stupid.
No, but Avery's not stupid.
Right. Yeah.
Not at all.
Just remind you.
Yeah. Stop it.
Personal hotspot right now. If you guys are experiencing latency downloading, just search on your wireless networks list for Benjamin's iPhone.
There's.
Oh, wow.
Serious? What happened?
I don't have any idea. The wireless network, I guess, decided to actually work.
Mine says 2 minutes now.
I'll believe it when it's. Okay, it says I have 4 seconds left, and it's been. All right.
Oh, now I'm at 8 minutes.
Yeah, again, if you guys want to, you can.
Now I'm at 2 minutes.
Minutes really flew past, huh?
So is this gonna give us a new template?
Going to be a way that we can basically drop elements onto a screen. Like we'll drag and drop them, and then it'll for us, so we don't have to write it manually. Otherwise, we have to literally go in and like write the XML, which is as using a drag and drop interface.
Did you already get yours?
You get over there, Joy?
Like they want to like.
Joy, you haven't said anything all day.
Yeah. That. One because it's not. Yeah,
Did you finish?
yeah, I figured it out. I was like, not a fan. I was like, what? I hit the buttons. Do it.
Well, it's. I mean, what if you didn't know what you were doing and you were a malicious attacker with a program and you wanted to run people's computers? All right, guys, are we all set?
Hold on. I think this can't be open because it is from an unidentified developer.
Yep.
Control, click on the icon.
Thank you.
Yep. If you guys get
you.
if you get that prompt, just like Mike said, control click. What's going on is that there's a list of approved publishers in OS X, and Gluon is not on that list.
Should we register?
Can if you want to, you don't need to by any means.
All right.
I just say cancel.
Ah, cool. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is build what's called a to-do desktop. So the gist of it is we're just going to build a list of to-dos. Like we're going to be able to complete our to-dos and then add new to-dos and remove to-dos and stuff. Build that in a graphical interface. All right. So, a new project called To Do Desktop and use the JavaFX template. So up until this very moment, we've been using the Java template. Project X. We're going to create To Do Desktop.
Public class controller.
So this is for your XML file. So controller is what handles, there's a class that handles all interactions with the XML file. So it basically is a manager of stuff. So like if you click a button, for instance, your controller is what's going to define how to handle that interaction. So if you look at our XML file that's automatically generated, we can see that we have at the root, we have this thing called a grid pane. And it has this attribute fx controller, which is set to sample.controller, which is the namespace of our controller, right? So that basically maps the XML to our controller. So whenever we do define things, it's going to be, right?
Cool. And I have like my little like social thing on the side. I have like these little icons.
I don't know what that is. I think it's just a share. It shows up in XML files. Oh, it's to open this up in those browsers. If you wanted to, typically if you have HTML, that might be a desirable feature, is to open it up in the big browser. But it's not like 90% of the time.
Okay.
It's not going to help you in this case because it's all XML.
But they're pretty.
They are pretty. Either way, we'll see if we just run this code now. We see a blank window. It says "Hello World" pop up. Okay. Might take a sec, but it'll show up eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
I'm glad you guys are impressed with the Hello World application.
I like that something is happening immediately.
Yeah. All right. So if we take a look at our main class, main is still what starts everything. So this start method, so we have application, which is a base class of JavaFX applications, right? It has a method called start. It happens when, you know, when the application begins. To start, but it's not. It's being kind of a butthead. Entry point for all JavaFX applications. So, and this is ready for the application to begin running. We call start. Basically, we are a state to do any logic we want inside the start method. Passed in a stage here. If we click on the stage class, you see that the JavaFX stage class is the top level JavaFX container. The primary stage is constructed by the platform. It may be constructed by the application. So as like the root level app. This is our app at a very high level. So what we can do to this is things like you see on line 14, we have a set title, we have set scene. Think of it like a play, right? You have your stage and you have scenes. You can modify your scenes and change what scene you're currently looking at, but the stage is the same. So on the stage, we're going to set the title, if you think like a banner, right? Hello World, and that's what we saw in our app, which was running for me. Now I finished it. But you saw that's what we saw as hello world. And the scene that we're setting currently is a new scene object. And the scene object is going to take in the XML file or FXML file. So this is what ties together with your application, is this reference to the parent root.
Love this.
So once it sets the scene, it sets it up with this FXML file. It gives it dimensions. This is 300 pixels and 275 pixels, which shows the current scene. Run this again. We can kind of see what we just did. Again, we have a window that's 300 by. We'll just take their word for it. Right? It looks about right. It has hello world, and what we see in front of us is just a blank screen. The default for the current stage. We'll launch the scene builder and open this sampled FXML file located in the IntelliJ project. So the scene builder's job is to update files. Project FXML file to work with. Open it up and modify it with scene builder. Since IntelliJ isn't super great at innate tools to modify FXML files, we're going to be using the scene builder to. Okay.
So we have to go find created in IntelliJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Go find it and then open it up inside scene builder. I'm in Ben. What's up, Lindsay?
Yeah. So where are you right now then? You're in screen builder, right? Or scene builder.
Yeah, the app I'm in right now is scene builder.
And then where do you look for it?
Decided to make your project.
Like a code folder?
Source sample.fxml is where it is. So here's a trick. If you guys right click in IntelliJ on the sample.fxml, and you can reveal it in Finder and see what folder it's in. And about where it is. So mine's in 16 to do desktop source sample.
How do you find it? Oh, okay. Save it.
Are we good? Do we have the XML file open?
Okay.
Good. So do is delete the grid pane from the hierarchy. The hierarchy here is listed here on the bottom left-hand side. And we're not going to use the grid pane by default. You can just hit delete.
Is this how it's supposed to look?
Yep.
Drag it. So here it is, right? And I just drag it in there. Okay.
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
You're all set. Okay, so we have the sample.fxml file open. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but that was at 1 o'clock. So
Exactly.
leave.